Hello and welcome to another book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. First of all, this cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love it, it's amazing. And the back is equally as nice. And so I just finished this book and I have to tell you, this is also now one of my favourite books of all time. This is the UK paperback edition without the illustrations. Yes, but anyway, so the story follows a little boy called Conor, and his mum is dying of cancer. We find this out very early on in the book, so don't worry, it's not a spoiler. But his mum is dying of cancer, and the treatments have stopped working, so she is getting progressively worse. And ever since the day his mum became ill, Jonas has been plagued by a nightmare that he has never told anybody about. But the yew tree behind Conor's house turns into a monster every night and visits him in his room. And the yew tree monster knows about the truth about Jonas's nightmare. And this story basically is about Conor dealing with what is happening to his mum and what's happening in his life at the time that his mum is ill. And it's just a beautifully written book, and it has a lot of fairy tale-esque elements in it because, first of all, the yew tree monster is a brilliant character in this book. You actually feel like you connect to him because he tells Conor 3 stories from times when he's been a tree throughout the centuries, and these things have happened, and he's seen them happen and witnessed them happen, and all the stories contradict each other, and he tells Conor these stories, and then he tells Conor that Conor will tell him a 4th story, and it will be the truth, and it will be what happens at the end of the nightmare that has been plaguing Conor. And yeah, so a lot of things happen during the story. Conor's mum, like I said, becomes progressively worse, so Conor goes to stay with his grandma, who he doesn't particularly get on with. Conor's dad is also in America. He met another woman, so he's moved to America, and he comes back for a little bit, for a couple of days, just to see Conor's mother and see how Conor's getting on. But then he has to go again, and we don't see him after that, which is really strange. Yeah, and it gets to the stage where Conor is required to tell the tree monster his 4th tale, which is the truth about the end of his nightmare that he hasn't told anybody, but the tree knows about. And so it happens like the nightmare plays out in front of Conor, and he is a part of it. He is in the nightmare as it's happening. And yeah, I will just say, I can't really say much more than that without spoiling the story, but the whole point of this story is that Conor is a young boy dealing with his mother going through a particularly difficult time in her life, which is the fact that she is dying. And it's a very heartwarming and heartbreaking story. And I will just read you one quote from this book that began pulling at my heartstrings, and it's just beautiful. And this is Conor's mother talking to him from her hospital bed. "And if, one day," she said, really crying now, "you look back and you feel bad for being so angry, if you feel bad for being so angry at me that you couldn't even speak to me, then you have to know, Conor, you have to know that it was okay. It was okay. That I knew. I know, okay? I know everything you need to tell me without you having to say it out loud, alright?" He still couldn't look at her. He couldn't raise his head, it felt so heavy. He was bent in two, like he was being torn right through his middle, but he nodded. When I read that sentence, that paragraph, I almost broke down in tears, and I never cry when I read books. I mean, I've probably cried once or twice, but that paragraph alone just really hit home for me. I don't understand why, but it just did. But overall, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. As you can see on the front, the time scores are outstanding, and so do I. I highly give it that accolade as well. I think it's a brilliant book and everybody should read it. And I will link my Toast Pop review in the description box below, so you can go check that out for my full review, which is spoilery. There are spoilers, not much more than what I've told you today. I just tell you in there what happens when Conor relives the nightmare in front of the yew tree and tells the truth to everyone. So yeah, that's the spoilery bit at the end, but it does have spoilers in it, just to warn you. But yeah, that will be linked in the description below, and I urge you to pick this book up as soon as you can, because I put this off for so long, I don't know why. But when I got into the story and I read this in one day, literally. I started it yesterday at about maybe 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I finished it about an hour ago, which was about 1 a.m. in the morning on Sunday. And it was absolutely amazing. And I don't read books that quickly, and this is over 200 pages. It's almost 240 pages, and yeah, I don't read books that quickly, so that just goes to prove how much this book impacted me, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Go check out my Toast Pop review, it was absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's all from me today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, and you may subscribe. And also, if you have any views on this book, or you want to discuss this book, you want to ask me anything about the book, you can either comment on the Toast Pop review that I did, or you can comment on my Goodreads review, or if you follow me on Goodreads, or you can ask me in the comment section and I will answer your questions and talk to you about the book, because After Heaven by Christoph Marzi, this is now also one of my favourite books, and I'm going to stop talking because I'm gushing too much and this video is going to be way too long. But yeah, just know that I love the book and it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's all from me today. Goodbye, happy reading, be good to yourselves and to each other.